Can you make the chat like a teensy bit bigger? I know that's perfect. Thank you. I know my eyesight is bionic, but I just need it a little bigger. I hope everyone's ready. Hello, happy Thursday. Welcome into the show. I want to make sure that you are subscribed before we get started on everything. Rumble.com/Hayley brings you to the Bongino Report channel. That's where you can watch Vince at 8, myself at noon, and Sean Farish live at 1. The Bongino Report Clips channel on YouTube is also where you can watch this show live now. You can also watch on Spotify as soon as the show ends and listen on your favorite podcast platform wherever the live show ends, whenever the live show ends. Make sure that you check out all the shows here. And the radio show, Bongino PM, is on Rumble? No. Okay, we'll also do that. Yes. We appreciate you all so much. So I also ask that you tell a friend about this show, send them the link, send them a social media clip, leave a review. All of that helps so much. And please support our sponsors like Earnhouse. This is your quick scroll break. If you're already spending a few spare minutes on your phone, here's one way that downtime could potentially earn you a little extra. Earnhouse. Life is expensive. More so nowadays. Holiday season is coming up. It's going to be here before you know it. It's nice to have a little extra cash in your pocket. It is free to join Earnhouse, and it connects you with paid survey opportunities from companies looking to pay you for your opinion. And before choosing a survey, you'll see the estimated time and dollar reward up front. So you decide if it's worth your time. And if you qualify and complete it, you can earn rewards redeemable for cash, or you can choose from up to over 100 digital gift cards. So if you qualify and complete the survey, you can get cash, you can get gift cards. Great to have a little extra in your back pocket. So instead of giving every spare minute back to the scroll, take a look at what Earnhouse may have available. Click the link in the description and get started now, or go to earnhouse.com/scroll right now and create your free account. Again, that is earnhouse.com/scroll, earnhaus.com/scroll. Check it out now and see what paid opportunities you can qualify for. And put those phones on Do Not Disturb, because the show starts right now. As you all know, this show is called Scrolling with Hayley. My screen time is higher than yours. I would bet my money on it. If people in the chat want to drop their screen times below, we could do we don't even need to do a test, because I know that my screen time is higher, but I'll pull up my phone right now. When I checked it last night, it was 14 hours and 24 minutes. Right now it says 14 hours and 6 minutes. But the night is young. Let me just say, the night is young.
Good for you. Honestly, kudos.
Dan talked about this on his show a few weeks ago, and he texted me, and he was like, I was talking about your screen time on my show, and he sent me a screenshot of his, and it was 8 hours, a little less than 8 hours. And he said, is yours on par with this? I said, Dan. Bro, I'm doubling your screen time. Like, it's astronomical.
Everybody that you don't text back right now is like, what the hell?
No, I tell people all the time that I'm really not on my phone using it. I'm not texting people all day long. I don't keep up with my friends and family nearly as much as I should. I am on my phone scrolling to get content for this show. I am writing. Like, my screen time is also my laptop. Like, I'm working all night. I'm writing a book. Like,
this is true. I've gotten many, check out this article at the wee hours of the morning that have scared the death out of me.
Yeah, Andrew wakes up in the middle of the night because I'm sending articles and stuff at 1 a.m, 2 a.m. I'm like, I'm not done working. So, some people are just addicted to their phones. I made lemonade out of lemons. I'm working. So I find all the viral videos. I know the latest trends. I'm on it. But I'm also an adult. I grew up with technology, in that my parents got a desktop computer for the family when I was old enough to go to school. I think I was 6 years old, and they got a desktop computer for all of us.
The family computer is an iconic coming-of-age tale.
And we're getting into this topic today about computer safety and stuff for kids. That is the way forward. The way forward is back. The way forward is backwards. I know that sounds crazy, but having a family computer, a family laptop, something that stays stationary and it's in a living room or a kitchen or something, a common area in the house is way better to keep your kids safe, in my opinion. And it's not just my opinion. I mean, we're backing this up, but that is, anyway, I grew up with Tamagotchis, video games. We played The Sims. I had Barbie video games. I got a flip phone to coordinate pickups with my parents after school activities. I would stay after school for, extra help or tutoring or I don't know, after school sports or whatever. And then I would text my mom or call my mom and say, hey, I'm ready to be picked up, whatever. I was introduced to social media and smartphones later in life than kids are now. I feel like even in the womb, pregnant women are scrolling and these kids are probably popping out and they know TikTok sounds. It's crazy. They're just, because they can hear.
I've never thought about that.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, you would take your Walkman and put your headphones on your stomach. Now they're just hearing the saxophones grow louder.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, I mean, it's something to be said. I sometimes feel bad. I feel like I'm rotting Birdie's brain because Birdie sits next to me and she's on my lap as I scroll. And I'm like, this poor, and her brain is like probably this big. It's just being completely rotted with AI slop and whatever else. But the TV shows that I watched in the 90s and early 2000s were much less stimulating than the popular ones today. They're finding out that the Bluey and Paw Patrol and all these shows that are being fed to kids now are like strobe lights, basically. It's like to keep their attention, and everyone wonders, oh, why do all these kids today have attention deficit disorders? And it's like, well, they've been set up to fail because of all of this content that they're being fed very early in life. Now adults with phone addictions like myself are having children. They're teaching their kids that it's okay, not on purpose necessarily, but this is how we live now. We live, and this thing is an extension of us. It's like an extra, it's part of us now. This is how we live. And users are addicted to these platforms. They're designed to be addictive because the company like Meta and TikTok and Snapchat, they want more users. They want the users to stay on the platform longer, and features like infinite scroll. Like, do you remember Instagram back in the day where you would reach the end?
I was having the same conversation with somebody
or
this
Twitter
past weekend. I said, I remember when the algorithm would just stop. I wasn't on Facebook anymore because there was no new content to be seen.
And it said back in the day, you would scroll. You were only really being fed content from the people that you followed. So you would get to the end of your Twitter feed. You would get to the end of Instagram or the end of Facebook.
Reached the end, right?
Yes. Yeah. And it would say like, and that was a huge wake up call, right? Because you'd be like, wow, I'm a piece of shit.
I was about to say the shame that came with hitting the end of Instagram.
Yeah, like, oh, I've been on my phone for how long? I've seen everything? Like, how is that possible? Now, with infinite scroll and autoplay, there's infinite content. You can scroll for hours upon hours and you're in this hole and you can't dig yourself out. There's no wake-up call to be like, oh, I've been scrolling so long. Maybe you guys see this on TikTok, but they'll have a video come up every once in a while and it says, hey, like you've been scrolling for a really long time. This video comes up and she's like, you should probably put your phone down. They have this message that comes up. It's not a message.
New
it's
challenge unlocked. I have yet to get this, but I'm excited to try.
Oh, well, Justin, have you gotten that?
Oh, yeah. It's the
it's
black
time
lady.
To, yeah,
like,
it's time to
maybe
stop
put the
scrolling.
phone down, go to sleep.
Yes. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. But yeah, so they're giving us the reminders that it's like, hey, you've been scrolling for a few hours extra than the average person. Maybe you should put your phone down. But
the more you scroll past her, the less guilty you feel.
That's the thing. Like, I'm desensitized to this now. I see her face come up and I'm like, yeah, I don't need that negativity in my life. I'm scrolling past her. I'm like, I don't care how long I've been on my phone. I still have work to do, So they keep users on the platform for hours. People are checking their notifications for their phone for notifications. It's like a drug. I am addicted to my phone. Thankfully, my brain developed as a child before these kinds of things were implemented. I can't imagine children at such an impressionable age being exposed to these kinds of dopamine hits. That's why we're seeing kids not being able to function in public unless they have an iPad. This is why we have iPad kids. This is why we're seeing kids grow up and they're anxious to take phone calls or speak to people in real life. They'd rather text and send memes. This all creates anxiety, depression, self-harm. Kids are comparing themselves to AI, to airbrushed models. This creates body positivity issues and body image issues, or at least exacerbates them. Again, I think a lot of this transgender BS is because kids saw it on TikTok or on social media somewhere. They were never exposed to transgenders aside from the internet. So, like, how many transgenders do you know in real life? Not many. I don't know anyone. I mean, I've met them through social media, but I've never come across one in real life. So again, think about that impact on a child. Kids probably have questions about this stuff because they're being fed it online. Now parents are having to wrestle with these questions much earlier than they probably thought they would ever come up. And because we want to blame the platform, but these issues have existed outside of the platform for decades. I mean, before social media and body positivity issues on social media, there were 90s skinny models in all the advertisements. Kids were bullied in real life. I mean, these social media platforms are just the new medium for these messages. And the most concerning side effect of social media usage for kids is now their proximity to pedophiles, predators. Predators have instant access to victims via DM and other chat rooms. Sextortion schemes are carried out on social media platforms. Child sexual abuse material is shared far and wide. People take social media photos of their kids, post them, turn them into porn using AI. And Meta, the parent company owned by Mark Zuckerberg, which has Facebook and Instagram under its umbrella, has been under fire for these damaging effects that its platforms have on users, primarily children. And I covered this earlier in the year that back in February, a Meta researcher blew the whistle on 500,000 child exploitation cases every single day on its platforms. That's just Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp. WhatsApp is under his umbrella as well. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, 500,000 child exploitation cases per day. Per day. The scariest part about this staggering number is the real problem is always worse. This is just the ones that they've caught. There are so many predators online that get away with murder. It's not for lack of trying. Law enforcement nabs a ton of these freaks, thank goodness, but most online predators have dozens, if not hundreds of victims before they're caught. So think about if there's 500,000 cases per day, all of those pedophiles, they have multiple victims. And they've probably been doing this for years. So think about how staggering that number really is. And unfortunately, this is a growing industry in this country. I know this sounds like some third world stuff, but no, it is right here. It is right in our backyards. It could be someone that you know. And since 2023, there have been over 40 U.S. states that have sued Meta, accusing it of failing to protect kids. And Meta was ordered to pay $375 million to New Mexico in March of this year. They found a jury in New Mexico found Meta guilty of putting profitability over the protection of children from sexual exploitation and other mental health harms. And the jury found Meta liable for violating state consumer protection laws in hundreds of thousands of instances. So again, they were ordered to pay $375 million in damages. Meta, of course, denied this and planned to challenge the verdict in court. Over the years, Meta has taken action. Back in 2024, they rolled out teen accounts. So if you are, 13 years old, 14 years old, you can make an Instagram account, but it is private by default. But then again, there are ways around all this stuff, right? So it's like I'm thrilled that, Meta is being bullied into making these changes, but if they weren't being sued, they wouldn't have made the changes, and all these kids can get around this stuff anyway. Just because the account is private by default doesn't mean that they can't go and undo that and become public. Now your child is available to the internet, and the internet is available to your child. This is the way that this works. Just because you make the account and it's private doesn't mean that it stays that way, because assuming you'd have the same account once you turned 18. So then what happens when you're 18? Then you can have the option to turn it off? I don't know. It limits DMs so that you can't get in contact with randoms on the internet. There are certain parental controls that they've put in place, time limits and things like that. And they also remove comments on the videos of minors that are inappropriate, which should be happening anyway. Even this happens to me all the time. We posted a video yesterday from yesterday's show of my thoughts on Jelly Roll. There are so many comments that are hidden by Instagram. There are like hundreds of comments that are hidden. And then you see there's only like 100 something comments that they allow to show. But I go in there and it's like hidden. There's so many more. And they're not even that bad. So anyway, they have some other tools to report childhood sexual abuse material. And critics say, and myself included, say that these measures are not doing enough because kids are still coming in contact with predators and the issues persist. So New Mexico got that payout separately from the settlement that we learned about yesterday. Meta settled another massive lawsuit, this time involving 52 attorneys general from 47 U.S. states, D.C., and other territories. And Meta is going to have to pay out $18 billion, billion with a B, and they've agreed to take even more precautions to make their apps safer for kids. I will say, and I know that this is extreme, but the safest way for kids to use social media platforms is to abstain from using social media at all. But is that totally realistic in today's day and age? Of course not. If you tell your kid that they can't do something, they're going to find a way to do it. Sneaky kids. What is it saying? Like, strict parents create sneaky kids. You tell someone that you can't do something, it's going to make you want to do it even more. We saw this with Australia's social media ban for users under certain ages. Within hours of this ban taking place, the kids found multiple ways to bypass the age restrictions. They used photos of their older siblings. They altered their face to look older using AI. They lied about their birthday. So there's ways. It doesn't really matter what the government tells these platforms to do. The problems are going to persist. So to me, it seems like it's kind of stupid to have this government intervention because you just have to be alert. There's power in knowledge, and I think people and parents specifically and grandparents just need to know what to look out for. But Meta posted this open letter to the other platforms, TikTok and YouTube, that are very popular among younger people. And they are, Meta is being sued and being forced to do this stuff. Now they post this open letter like, hey, TikTok, you should do the same thing. And, Snapchat, you should do the same thing. YouTube, you should have to do the same thing. Again, Meta wasn't going to do any of this stuff until they got sued themselves. So whatever. This is what they say. We are announcing an agreement we have reached with a bipartisan group of 52 attorneys general across the U.S. states, territories, and the District of Columbia, building on our longstanding efforts to empower parents and support teens. Through this agreement, we have set out a path toward industry-wide commitments to further empower parents by introducing a 2-hour daily time limit, turning off access to our apps at night as a default, no notifications during school hours, clear prompts and notifications to teens every 15 minutes of continuous screen time, new parental supervision controls so parents can decide how their teens use our apps. We want to ensure teens benefit from this new industry standard, but we cannot do it alone. These protections will only be truly effective if we work with our peers, TikTok and YouTube, to put the same measures in place. This is true. If Meta and Instagram and WhatsApp and Facebook have and kids aren't even on Facebook anyway, but if they have these restrictions, this is just going to make Meta the kicked stepchild of the social media apps, because the kids are going to be like, oh, I'm going to get kicked off of Facebook. I'll just go on Snapchat. I'll just go on YouTube. So they are right in this. If all the social media platforms are not on board, this doesn't do anything at all. But I will say, with the 15-minute reminders, we were just talking about this earlier in the show. On TikTok, they have that woman come up that says, like, you've been scrolling too long. 15-minute intervals, you're just going to swipe away that notification. I get notifications all the time. You have been using your AirPods too long, and it's like an ear health sound, hearing aid, whatever, reminder. Yeah, I already know that
You get a lot of warnings.
Yeah, but
Holy moly.
Here's the thing. I ignore them. You don't get that? Your phone doesn't tell you?
I don't keep my AirPods up very high.
I turned it off the second I used it. I saw it once and never again.
Oh, because you turned it off.
Yeah.
I can't. You don't put your AirPods on high? I do. I don't know. You don't? You don't get the...
Am I deaf?
You've never gotten the notification saying you should turn down your AirPods?
I mean, I've gotten it.
Okay, thank you.
I don't get it like often.
I get it once a week.
Oh, yeah, I don't get it that often.
Okay.
Enjoy hearing aids at 55.
Yeah. Absolutely. I already know that.
That's
But
nuts.
like, here's the thing. The reminders you turned off the reminder. You got it once and turned it off. I get the reminder once a week. I swipe it away. It doesn't change my habits. So these reminders that they're going to give to teenagers, you think that they care at all? No, of course they don't. I think that the more safeguards that are put in place, the better. I think that the infinite scroll and autoplay are all damaging for kids' brains and adult brains, by the way, but certainly for kids. Any chat function on any platform is going to be misused by pedophiles. But again, Meta put in protective measures for those teen accounts 2 years ago, and these issues still persist. People are still suing them, so the issues will keep going on. But on the legislative level, politicians are pushing for the App Store Accountability Act, which they say would prevent certain age children from getting on social media apps because their age is verified on the App Store. They say that this can't be circumvented. Of course it can. Of course it can. Any age verification, App Store, whatever. They say that when a user, this is what they say, when a user creates an account, the App Store must request age information and verify the user's age category using a commercially reasonable, whatever that means, method designed for accuracy. Categories typically include child, which is under 13, younger teenager, 13 to 15, older teenager, 16 to 17, and adult 18 plus. Methods are not strictly prescribed. They can include ID checks, credit card verification, biometrics, or other tools, but the store remains responsible for accuracy. We cannot get this country to get on board with requiring IDs to vote. So do you think that people are going to be on board with ID checks to download an app on your phone? You need an ID to download Instagram, and you think that we can get this same Congress that won't pass to safeguard our frickin' elections? You think they're going to pass this? Absolutely not. Plus, this would mean that anyone under the age of 18 would need a parent to download an app for them. And it could require a credit card. For what? To download Instagram, a free app? And you can lie about your age when you set up an Apple ID. I set up an Apple ID, I don't even know when. I guess when I got my iPhone a decade ago or something, like a very long time ago. And how do they know how old I am? I just said how old I was.
It's like the age verification on a liquor website.
Yeah, it's like, are you 21? Yes. Okay.
When was your birthday?
Welcome.
1914, actually, sir.
Welcome in. That's the thing. It's just, you can bypass all of this. So I wonder how they would actually enforce this in a way that makes sense. Would it prompt a parent to verify whether or not their kid can download a certain app? How does it know how old the parent is? And how do they get the parent? How do they know that the kid belongs to the parent? And does it go to the parent's email? Like, how do they know all this stuff? I just don't know. And then what would the alternative be for Android? I'm not sure. I don't know how they set up I don't know what the alternative is for Apple ID. I don't know what they have. I've never been on the Android App Store. Maybe it would go to the parent's email. I don't know. You all know how I feel. I want to protect kids. I want them to be safe online. I want them to be safe in person. The more knowledge, the better. The more parental oversight, the better. Things will always slip through the cracks. But I think if we're proposing legislation, it has to make sense. And it can't be complete overreach either. Because if we're just passing legislation to pass legislation to be like, oh, look, we protected kids, we did it, and then it doesn't actually work, that's dumb. That's why I don't really believe in social media bans. I don't believe in government bans or intervention because I hate the government, and I hate when the government wants to play the role of the parent. But parents also have to know the risks so that they can better protect their own children and grandchildren, nieces, nephews, etc. And as much as we want to blame Mark Zuckerberg for all these problems and whoever is the CEO of Google and all these other platforms, it's not enough to point fingers. You can't rely on the platform or the app store to fix all these issues that have plagued our society before these apps even existed. we have to do our parts first as family members. Should Meta continue to put guardrails in place? Of course, it can't hurt, but our society is deeply rotten. There are evildoers everywhere. There are pedophiles everywhere. Even if they don't live next to you, they can still talk to your kid. That is a very scary reality that nobody really wants to admit. As soon as you let your child on social media and on the internet, it's a possibility. So can we raise the next generation of children and shelter them completely from the internet in 2026? No. But knowing what to look out for can certainly help. And Florida did not join this lawsuit. So you'll remember that I said it was 47 U.S. states. New Mexico wasn't involved in that because they sued them on their own. Florida is also going to sue Meta on its own. That doesn't mean that Florida's not holding them accountable. Similarly to New Mexico, Attorney General James Uthmeier here in Florida says that the settlement is not something that Florida is settling for. Listen to this.
James, was it money? Was it terms? Something else? All the above?
Yeah, all of the above. Look, this was not a good deal for the states, and that's why Florida wasn't a part of it. We are not going to sell out when it comes to child safety. We're not going to capitulate. It might look like a big number, but this is a $1.5 trillion company. This is a rounding error that should not get them off scot-free for over a decade of harms to our kids. And look, New Mexico, a jury handed out a $1 billion verdict. Florida's more than 10 times the size of New Mexico. So we're not going to settle for pennies on the dollar. And the programmatic changes, they're good. They're a step in the right direction. But a lot of them are temporary, only good for 5 years. We do not believe they go far enough.
Yeah, I want to get outside the money in a second, but this is CNBC, so kind of we'll start there. Up to $17 billion, payable over 10 years, so $1.7 billion a year. It's a $200 billion revenue per year company. Meta does $200 billion a year in revenue. Have you done the math? Because I guess this show is all about math, Mr. Attorney General, on how much Florida would receive if you did agree to this current settlement?
Well, looking at the amounts received by other states, it looks like we would get less than that verdict that New Mexico received. And that's just not acceptable. We've got a great case, a lot of evidence showing the harms to kids, suicide, self-harm, mental injuries, many injuries. States around the country are seeing juries that seem favorable here. They were looking at trillions in liability. So we're not going to settle. We'll go to court. We like to fight for our kids in Florida. We're not going to bend over and capitulate.
Sir, 28 years ago, big tobacco settlement. This is $1998, which I think $206 billion over 25 years. The math was a lot different then than it is now. In some ways, you have to be insulted by this, I would imagine.
And that's the thing, right? You could see, I guess, over this lawsuit, how much money Florida can eke out of Meta in their own suit. And while these payouts seem huge, right? $18 billion. Texas, for example, got $1 billion in this suit. But for Meta, this is a drop in the bucket. And like I said, kids are still going to be harmed regardless, because anyone who wants to do harm to a child will find a way. Unfortunately, it does not remove the risk. The same way that we say gun-free zones are stupid, because they are, it's already illegal to kill kids in school. The same way it's already illegal to molest and rape kids and groom them online. This doesn't stop them from doing it. So what does this actually do, right? And it seems to me like this is just a money grab. Someone in the chat asked, where does this money go? Great question. If you get $1 billion from Meta, what are you going to use that for? Can you stop kids from getting molested and groomed online? Not really. I don't really know if there's like a dollar amount that makes this issue go away. Can they use it for good? Sure. Do we trust the government to do that? I don't know. So Florida's certainly leading the way, though, on protecting children on so many fronts. Obviously, we all know about the Parental Rights and Education Act from a few years ago, signed by Governor DeSantis, which put the power back in the hands of the parents, right? All it said, and this was the whole don't say gay thing where the left was talking about, oh, the don't say gay bill, whatever, which, yeah, I don't know why anyone would want teachers to be talking about sex with kids. And honestly, it doesn't even ban that. It just said before 4th grade, you can't talk about sex and sexuality and gender stuff with children, which I think is fair. But I would even go further than that. You don't need to talk about sex in school unless it's part of anatomy or health class or something like that. But whatever. I know that certain schools, public schools, have sex ed. I took sex ed in like middle school and stuff, but it was more so like, hey, your body's going through these changes. Here's what to expect, whatever. I think that parents should be having those conversations, not teachers. Certainly with how teachers look now, they're all blue-haired and septum piercing, and they all got Zer pronouns. I don't want someone like that having that conversation with my kids. But in terms of other ways that Florida is leading the way protecting children, obviously we see that the previous administration ushered in millions of illegal aliens. And you don't have to be a border state to deal with the consequences of those actions. We know this. Every state is a border state now. And you don't even have to live in a blue state or a city or with sanctuary policies. These consequences are everywhere. You may remember that in Florida a few months ago, there was a deadly car crash with an Indian illegal alien in the driver's seat. He jackknifed a 18-wheeler and killed a family of 3. He got his CDL elsewhere. Then he drove to Florida and killed Floridians. So again, just an example of how this border crisis is everyone's problem now. And it comes with a lot of consequences. And unfortunately, missing children is one of them. Not all missing children are a product of the border crisis, but it doesn't help. I'll say that. Back in December, Border Czar Tom Homan announced that the Trump administration had located 62,000 unaccompanied minors. That number is shocking, to think that there were 62,000 missing children. And there's more than that, because months later, DHS Secretary Markwayne Mullin announced that 146,000 children were found, and he would move heaven and hell to find the rest. Now in Florida, just recently, 163 children were found ages 2 months to 17 years old. This is what they're calling Operation Statewide Shield, and they're finding missing children. Thank goodness. These children have experienced abuse, neglect, exploitation, and exposure to other criminal activity, including human trafficking. Thankfully, Florida has made arrests. There are more to come. And the children have all been placed in recovery hubs. Also in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis is cracking down on EBT and what's allowed and what's not allowed on the taxpayer's dime. Take a listen to this.
I'm proud to announce that Florida will be the first state in the nation to restrict temporary cash assistance benefits from being used for inappropriate and non-essential purchases. For example, no tobacco and vaping products with EBT cards and TANF grants. No drugs or intoxicants with EBT cards and TANF grants. No adult material. You can get adult material in the gas station. No video games, entertainment tickets, theme park subscriptions. No tattoos. No tanning beds. Other, more luxury services. No fortune-telling services. And so, this is just, I don't know why some of this is happening. Now, obviously, some of these cards are just people don't need it, and it's fraud, right? I mean, they're milking the system. They're not really needy. They're scam artists, and so they're using it to do some of this other stuff. But I do think that if somebody really is needy, we just want to make sure that that money is going to the things that are going to help that individual and if the dependents and help the dependents.
It's supposed to help. EBT is for people. This, again, if you're on EBT, I'm not saying that these government assistance programs shouldn't exist. If you lose your job, if you really are in need of help to get food, it should be healthy food, right? You shouldn't be getting Doritos and whatever else on EBT. And it shouldn't be something that you're on for a long period of time. It's supposed to be a jumping off point where you can get back onto your feet. You need a little government assistance, great. This shouldn't be the government paying your bills and your grocery bills for the end of time. It's stupid. You were shocked by this.
I grew up in the South, so I gas stations a lot of the time would have EBT accepted here.
Sure.
My brain didn't put together that covered everything in the gas station.
You would think gas,
maybe, like, I don't know. I just would...
water.
I would think more towards food and necessities. Goodness.
I was unaware that you could get adult material at the gas station. Call me naive. I had no idea. I don't really go into gas stations very often, I'm going to be honest with you, but I'm also not looking for things like that, but I've never noticed that in my life.
The more shady the gas station, the higher your chances. If you go into a Wawa, you're probably good.
Yeah. Or a Buc-ee's. You're not going to see that.
Yeah, probably not at a Buc-ee's. But, like, tattoos? Tattoos?
It's crazy.
What are we doing?
You don't need tattoos. These are all wants, not needs. That's what pisses me off, that the taxpayer is funding these wants, not needs. You might want drugs. You might want to feel high. You might want to feel drunk. You might want to engage in adult material. You might want a video game. You might want to go to a theme park. You might want a tattoo. You might want to get your fortune told by a psychic. That is not my freaking problem. If I'm the taxpayer and you are struggling, you don't get to do fun freebies.
Your fortune is you should probably go to Disney World.
No, it's like, I'm seeing your future and it looks like you need to get a freaking job. That's what I would do. If anyone...
The problems will be solved with 2K27.
If I was a fortune teller and someone used EBT, I'd be like, in the next few weeks, I see you getting a job. That's what I would do. But these people don't care. They're just taking the money.
And this is Florida, which I would consider to be doing their best to be above reproach. I can't even imagine some of these other states what this stuff's getting spent on.
Right. We're a common sense state here. And again, vapes and cigarettes, things like that, tanning beds, unhealthy food. These are all things that would make someone need to be more reliant on the government, more reliant on universal health care, or more freebies. Big pharma, like this makes you unhealthy and sick.
I've seen this even a little bit with like HSA accounts that are primarily supposed to be used for health, and good or bad, you can swing a lot of stuff as being needed
new
for
sneakers.
Health. Correct.
New sneakers. My friends got like red light masks for their face using HSA.
The HSA website is chock full of goodies that are not necessities, which if you need it, totally understand. Also, it's your HSA account. I get it. But it's very interesting, the scope of what you can get.
There's like a lot of loopholes, right? It's people using and abusing this system, and that's what Governor Ron DeSantis said. This is being abused. The system itself is broken. It's a good idea on paper, but if it's being abused, then it's not good for the American taxpayer, and certainly not the Florida taxpayer. And you remember, the Republican Party became the party of common sense. President Trump came out with Doge, with Elon Musk and JD Vance, and all they wanted to do was cut the fat, get rid of government waste, limiting EBT. It's common sense. It's common sense, and the left hates it. And I think a lot of us, especially people who live in Florida, this was a wake-up call where they were like, this was a wake-up call for me. I didn't know that gas stations sold porn. But this is shocking to me in general. But yeah, the fact that people are using government assistance to buy shitty, crappy food, like this pisses me off. Vapes. Huh?
The
Like
theme parks got me. That was the one. Because there's so many people who work really hard and can't afford to go have like a fun family vacation.
And that's not a right.
Correct.
It's not a right. These are, again, this is privileges. These are wants, not needs. And the American taxpayer should not be on the hook for that. Speaking of unhealthy food, this is one fat Democrat, let me tell you that. Katie Padilla-Stout, she's running for Congress in Texas. She has had her campaign finances exposed, and boy, is she spending a lot on booze and food. Let me just say that. Let's take a look at this. On March 30th, they spent almost $700 on cookies for one event. And, Jasmine plans a lot of events. Maybe she knows if this is out of the realm of possibility or not. I'm sure if you're getting catering for a lot of people, but just cookies? And how many people are at these events? I want to see a head count of how many people ate those cookies. Is it just Is it just the one?
The math is not mathing there. Let's say a cookie is $250 or $250, $2.50.
I was like, oh, what kind of cookies are
We're
these?
flexing on cookies here.
Yeah.
$2.50 per person. I can't do basic math. Hold on, I'm putting this in my calculator.
I can't imagine that she would have more than 100 people at an event. So this would be a very expensive cookie.
And that's $250. So we're looking at now maybe 100 people, $5 a cookie. That's still...
But I think that's because they're probably putting her face on it, or it says, Katie, whatever her name is for Congress, like all things that don't matter. And listen, I'm going to say this. I love food and I love a party. But how many people are at these events for this woman? They spent almost $1,300 at Total Wine on alcohol. They spent $2,027.52 on Mexican food. And then in that picture, you could see that the next day the Mexican restaurant charged another like $346. So I think that's got to be the tip that comes up the next day. So not even 18% tip. Just saying. I did the math. I'm just saying. Not even 18% tip. I think it's funny because Democrats always find funny ways to waste money. And this next one is particularly sordid. Here is Nick Shirley exposing sex spaces for homeless people in LA. Watch.
If you thought Los Angeles and California couldn't get any more crazier, watch this.
I'd like to propose that Los Angeles consider a pilot program for free hygienic sexual relief clinics, primarily serving the homeless and unhoused. This means equality. It means private sexual relief through masturbation or, where appropriate and consensual, with a partner. All funded by public tax dollars and managed with professional oversight.
Yes, you heard that right. Here in Los Angeles, they're considering a pilot program for hygienic sexual relief clinics. This means that homeless would have a location for them to go and masturbate and have sex in. So imagine a location like Skid Row right here. They'd have a place where the homeless can go masturbate and have sex in. Who's going to go clean those places out after a bunch of homeless people have had sex, and who's going to monitor the ages of those individuals that are going in and having sex? We know a lot of minors live out here in Skid Row. It also sounds like this could just be a place for a lot of women to get raped, quite frankly.
Probably. He's probably right. But here's the thing. I lived in New York City for a while, and almost 7 years, and people do that. I mean, homeless people, you see a lot of stuff that you shouldn't see. I get it. There should probably be somewhere that this doesn't have to be for all to see. But at the same time, who is going to go to the homeless people on Skid Row and be like, hey, so this is the tent you go to if you want to do this? Like, these people are not living in the same reality that we are. They don't care about this stuff.
Congrats. I'm sorry. Congrats. You got off EBT. We're going to need you to be a homeless sex area observer.
Well, that's the thing. Like, are there supposed to be observers or monitors? Nick brought up a good point. Like, who is cleaning this out? Nobody. No, of course, nobody. And then it's like, what's the difference between a government-funded masturbation tent versus the one that they're already masturbating in right now? I don't get that.
Duh.
It's just like money. It's so funny too that this, he played the clip from what looks to be like a town hall hearing or something. This is the community getting together. Who comes up with this idea?
Oh, he was amped.
Genuinely, like, this is what you're worried about? Wouldn't your concern be, let's get these people off the streets, let's get them clothing, let's get them food, let's get them showers, let's get them shelter, housing. Not so much, hey, these people are going to be here forever anyway. Let's make them more comfortable when they're making our society a mess. Come on. Like, these aren't real issues. Maybe these people are sick of seeing these people expose themselves in public, but then again, that's a crime. So haul them off to jail. I don't know. It's just, it's crazy. We're going to move out. How's this for a segue? We're going to move on from designated masturbation areas on Skid Row to designated fart corners in school. You like that segue?
10 out of 10. Well done, you.
Watch this.
Okay, so y'all have been asking me about the gas station in my classroom. Okay, so as you can see, my classroom is pretty spacious. Now, this is where all
Lots of room to
the
fart.
learning happens for tier 1 instruction. So I'll be down here teaching them, and they'll be sitting on the rug. Now, if they have to relieve themselves, they will just simply get up off of the rug, and they will walk back to that corner right there where you see that little yellow sign. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So they get up off the rug, walk over here, and they come right here to the gusty winds area. And of course, we have everything they need over here. They have sprays. Now, do I require them to spray? I don't. I just put it there in case they just want to go ahead and use it, because I spray my classroom every day anyway. So yeah, that's it. That's the station. It's pretty simple. They just come, stand here. And what I love about this is while I'm teaching, no one has to ask. I don't have to stop teaching in order to say, yes, you can go. No, just get up, go get up, go excuse yourself, and I can continue teaching. And then with the student inside the classroom, they don't lose any instruction. They can continue to learn. It's a win-win situation. Why wouldn't you, what's the point of, to me, what's the point?
Slaps McGroin into the chat said, F no, we just used to blast in class for the giggles. She says that this will help teaching, like this will help her be less distracted. I don't know what could be more distracting than someone getting up being like, I gotta go to the fart corner. Now everyone knows it's the fart corner, and it's like everyone's head's whipping around to be like,
new class clown bit unlocked. Pretending I had nothing but Mexican food the night before and consistently going to the corner and just being as obnoxious, spraying for minutes long.
Here's the thing. When I was in school, we did have designated areas to fart, and it was the bathroom stalls. If you wanted to go fart, you go to the bathroom. Why can't kids go to the bathroom if they need to go?
That's my next question. How many kids were, excuse me, sorry to interrupt numbers, but feeling a little gassy. Can I please?
That's the thing. We already have designated fart areas. Go to the bathroom. And this is way more distracting to listen to everyone farting. Also, how embarrassing is that? Like, she's trying to normalize this stuff, and it's like, just go do your business alone. First, it's farting in the corner in front of everyone. Then it's going to be something else. Like,
Why stop there? We need a fart chart. Get the chart up there. You know how they have this.
Keep track of the farts.
Oh, yeah. Everybody put a tally up there.
Then my question is, this had to have been such a big problem for her to implement a gusty winds area in her classroom. Like, people have to be like...
No wonder she's spraying Febreze every day. Her classroom smells terrible. Those are the fartiest kids ever.
What is the school feeding them? That's my question. Like, we have to maha these schools because I don't know what they're feeding them, but these kids are passing gas that often that it's so distracting that they can't learn. It's out of control. Out of control. Earlier this week, we were talking about the Callaway Golf and Good Golf collaboration that ended in disaster. People were saying it depicted domestic violence with a woman getting pushed to the ground over a club. It was just dumb. Like, my opinion on all this, just to fill everyone in, if you haven't heard, I play golf. I have Callaway clubs. I don't believe in cancel culture. I don't believe in boycotts. So to me, it's like, I thought the ad was dumb, but like, am I going to cancel a company over this? No, of course not. But that's too much to ask for the cancel culture mob. They're itching to cancel someone over something. You know, the morality police. They love this stuff. So I just think it's dumb. But now Target is under fire for this Halloween costume that some are saying resembles a Jim Crow era minstrel show character. And this is what the costume looks like. So it's like a black and white clown costume. There's really nothing wrong about the costume. There's nothing that really, to me, says that this is racist or inappropriate. The only thing that, like, I sort of get where people are coming from when it's like the black kid in the costume and it's got this smile. But to me, I thought that the smile was more so similar to the Coney Island steeplechase face smile, which is popular. I didn't really see it until people started saying it. And then people were bringing up this photo where it's like, okay, he's kind of hitting the same stance, the Jim Crow thing, with the smile and this like exaggerated whatever. But it's sort of you could go both ways. Like, isn't this just a clown smile? Like a big, spooky clown smile. Anyway, people were complaining. People were all upset. Anyway, people in the chat saying it's reaching. Justin also says that this is a huge reach. Well, again, in the era of the cancel culture mob, Target has to apologize anyway. They have to. So they said this: an apology from us. We pulled the defensive Halloween costume that should have never been part of our assortment. It is no longer for sale. As a company, we got this wrong. We are deeply sorry. We know this is especially hurtful for our Black guests, team members, and partners. Removing the costume is an important first step, and the company is looking very closely at how this happened and what needs to change to ensure this won't happen again. I don't know. It's not like Target made the costume. They just decided to sell it. So I guess they can apologize and be like, we should do better quality control in the future, but it's not like they made the costume. People are also itching to cancel Target. The cancel culture mob loves to cancel anyone, but I feel like Target gets canceled on both sides of the aisle. They're selling chest binders for kids and the right hates them. They're selling this costume and the left is all offended. Like, everyone, I feel like, just Target is a target on their back.
I was about to say, my takeaway from this is quality control at Target is non-existent. They are just selling
whatever.
anything.
And there's probably a market for everything that they're selling. And this is a company that wants to make money, so whatever. The thing about this costume, though, is it's not like it's a popular character. It's just this generic black and orange clown. I don't think that this would be flying off the shelves anyway. Like, if I was a buyer for Target, and I'm not, I don't know what goes into this, but I'd be like, we could probably do without that one. We could sell some more like Spider-Mans, you know? Ghostface with like Scream, and, you know, like, I feel like those are some more popular costumes that people go to every year.
It's probably some manufacturer outside of the U.S. who's just slapping together as many different generic costumes.
Yeah.
And this one just slipped through the cracks, and it's mildly distasteful. Target said they're sorry.
Someone in the chat said it was just the wrong model. Do you think that this would be a problem if there was a white kid modeling it? Probably not.
I don't. I bet the same reaction.
You think?
Yeah. I personally think it's pretty distasteful.
Oh, I think someone else in the chat said should have put a white kid in there. I think if there was a white kid modeling this wouldn't be a conversation. No one would be like, oh, it's racist. Because how could it be racist if there was a white kid wearing it? I think it's only because the model was black. That's what I think. And people try to find issues with everything nowadays. Here's another company, or this time it's a restaurant, having to give an apology. This is the cake, the birthday dessert that a woman in a wheelchair got at a restaurant. It literally says, written on the plate, "Happy Wheelchair Birthday." Or is it "Happy Birthday Wheelchair"? No, the exclamation point is at the end of birthday. So it's got to be "Happy Wheelchair Birthday," which doesn't make any sense.
It looks like a last-minute addition to that.
Yeah.
Kind of. This is so bogus.
It doesn't even look like it's the same font, right? Like, someone wrote "Happy Birthday" and then someone else added "wheelchair" to it. So this woman is named Antonia Sinibaldi. She is a singer-songwriter. She was diagnosed with a cervical spinal injury when she was 2 years old as a result of a car accident. And she was hit by a drunk driver. So very sad. Thankfully, she's survived this ordeal. And she has lived in a motorized wheelchair for the rest of her life and a ventilator. So she wanted to celebrate her birthday at this restaurant, Blue on the Hudson in Weehawken, New Jersey. And this was a few months ago. It just went viral recently. And when it was time for dessert, she was served a message that was far from sweet. It says, "My cousin and I ordered the same thing." So my question is, did the other one just say happy birthday, or was it not the other person's birthday? Did they just I don't know. It's weird. But it says happy wheelchair birthday. And she says that she was confused. She called over the management for an explanation, and he said, "We'll just send you over some free drinks." And she was like, "No, you have to explain what happened here." So a spokesperson for the restaurant gave a statement to CBS News, and this is what they said. This was their explanation for all of this, which doesn't make it any better. We at Blue on the Hudson are aware of a recent video circulating on social media. We are deeply saddened by what occurred. We sincerely apologize to the guests and everyone who was hurt or offended by this incident, which took place on June 20th, 2026. Treating every guest with dignity, respect, and care is fundamental to, this DEI, PR crisis, I'm so sorry stuff. We want to provide some context regarding what happened, not as an excuse, but to explain how this unfortunate mistake occurred. Our standard operating procedure is to use table and seat numbers on tickets to identify where each dish should be delivered. In this instance, the word wheelchair was used as a reference to identify where a birthday dessert with a candle should have been delivered. So again, their system is using numbers. They took it upon themselves to be like, fuck the numbers, let's just call her wheelchair in the back. Now, I have never worked in the back of a kitchen. I've never worked in the service industry. I have heard that this is what they do. I've seen receipts with identifiers, fat dude, bald dude, whatever. This is something that happens. Should it happen? No. The system that the restaurant has in place is numbers for the tables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the happy birthday goes to number 5. Great. Did you need to write, who is dumb enough to write wheelchair on the happy birthday? Happy wheelchair birthday, happy birthday. What does that even mean? You have to be so brain dead to do that. Genuinely. Even if in the back of the kitchen, they're like, hey, this goes to the woman in the wheelchair, which is fine. That's like a way to, hey, this goes to her. To write it on the plate? So this is what the restaurant said. Unfortunately, that notation was misunderstood and was written on the plate itself. There was absolutely no malicious or disrespectful intent behind the notation. Again, you have to be so stupid. If it was like, hey, her name is Julia, her name is Emily, happy birthday, Emily, sure, happy birthday, whatever, happy wheelchair birthday? What is this? It's like the anniversary of her being in the wheelchair or something? This is crazy. The restaurant says, however, we fully understand how seeing that word written on a plate can be deeply hurtful and upsetting. Since the incident, we have reinforced with our team the importance of following proper ticketing and communication procedures that have taken steps to ensure something like this doesn't happen again. We have also made an attempt to reach the guests directly to personally apologize and haven't been able to get in contact with them. She's probably screening their calls and being like, F you guys. Someone in the chat said, why did the server not see it? I don't know. I think this is probably someone in the back being like, here's the thing. I'm delivering it to this person, but this is stupid.
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake. When we're talking about the Target thing, it's like, okay, I could see that this is this slipped through the cracks. Maybe someone didn't see it because to the average person, they're not thinking about Jim Crow era minstrel shows when they see a black and orange clown, right? In this situation, you cannot see this any differently. Someone wrote, this isn't, it's a mistake, but this is purposefully stupid. I don't even think this is a mistake at all. How do you make a mistake like this? Happy wheelchair birthday? That doesn't even make any sense. Someone in the chat said it was probably an illegal that can't read. I think they can read because they wrote it. They wrote happy wheelchair birthday. It's so dumb. They're apologizing and they're saying, we're so sorry for this occurrence. We've learned from it and we're committed to doing better in the future. Every apology nowadays, we're doing better. We promise we're going to do better moving forward. I can't imagine getting that. It's your birthday. You're spending a little extra money. You're going out to a nice birthday dinner with your family. A happy wheelchair birthday on the plate. I wish I could be a fly on the wall to see that go down.
The equivalent of getting a happy birthday message, and it's happy birthday, big dumb ugly boy. Congrats.
It's why was there any identifier on the plate at all? I don't know. This is so stupid. Again, if they were even using the wheelchair as an identifier as where to put the thing.
Why is it on the plate?
It should have been happy birthday number 3. If they were using, if it really was for that reason. Because according to the restaurant, they use a numbering system, which makes sense to me. But, how could you possibly be this stupid? I don't know. You said before the show started, you said that this was just a dumb, a dumb kid.
or the meanest kid you've ever met in your entire life.
I just don't know, even if you're young, right? Like even if this is you're washing dishes in the back, you're a server and you're young, you're in high school. You know not to do that. You have to have like no socialization skills at all.
The only way it makes sense in my head is, hey, this is going to the wheelchair. You hear wheelchair and then you just write it on the, like, that's insane. Like the math doesn't math there.
It's totally insane. I would assume that whoever did that, because they have to have cameras in the back, right?
They know exactly who did this.
Yeah, I would assume this person gets fired. You know, I hate to see people get fired, but this is like this is stupid.
Release the tapes.
Release the tapes. Yeah.
She gets to bully him. I think that's the fair.
Yeah. Someone in the chat said, it's like Dan says, stupid is a choice. Yeah. Yeah, this was a very stupid choice. This is absolutely insane. Poor girl. I feel bad. Her birthday celebration got derailed by some dumb idiot. But too bad. Happy birthday to this belated birthday.
Maybe she'll make a little money out of it. Somehow. One way or another. Or
Maybe.
free drinks, I guess.
Free drinks. That's what they were willing to offer. So, and they're trying to get in contact with her to apologize. I'm sure this woman would never go back there, but it's wild. Anyway, thank you for watching the show today. I'm going to have a super scroll like you've never seen tomorrow. So if you're ready for that, I'm going to make up for lost super scrolls or lost scrolling times tomorrow. You can follow me on social media in the meantime at Hayley Carania. Make sure that you watch Vince at 8, Dan at 10, me at noon, Sean at 1, the whole Silverlock lineup. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Sean Ferris Live starts right now. Stay tuned.